Okay, hips. Hips are traditionally a pretty tight spot for people, especially ones that have a seated position for their jobs on a regular basis. Okay, so hips are going to be one of the places in your body that when you release them, there actually are far-reaching effects throughout the rest of the body. So it's a really, really great thing to maintain nice, loose, and easy hips, because that'll also encourage more looseness through your spine and through your legs, and actually just in general, your body's gonna feel a lot better when your hips are loose. You're gonna walk with better posture, your running will be improved, your lifting will be improved. There's a lot of stuff that can come up through tight hips. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it, again, soften things up a little bit first. I'm gonna show you with the hard ball, because this is the stuff that you're actually gonna be working hard with, okay? Hard ball. Now, the hip flexors, there's a couple here. You got the ones that go straight down. If you sort of feel right in the crease of the fold of your hip here, you're gonna know that that bone is right there. You're gonna feel that bone deep in there. Straight down the front from there are hip flexors, and then there's also one called a TFL. It's over here on the side and it sort of wraps around a little bit, but it's all part of the hip complex here, okay? Both of these can be tight. What we're gonna try to do here is we're gonna try to get into a groove just between those two muscles, okay? So you wanna find the bone, you wanna go down from that bone like an inch or so, and you'll feel the hip flexor. You can probably, put your finger on it, you feel a little bit of a rope in there. Those are your hip flexors. You wanna be down an inch from the bone and just a little to the outside. Like if your body had a front corner, that's where it would be, okay? So you might feel in there with your thumb, dig in there deep. You're gonna find a little bit of a groove in there. We're gonna go and try and see if we can get the ball right in that groove. So laying down on the floor, find where your bone is, the crease of your hip. You wanna go where the crease of your hip is, and then bring it down just an inch and a little toward the back side. So not directly on the front, not directly on the side, sort of between those two. And you kind of move around on the ball and you can figure out where that groove is. It's probably gonna be somewhat ouchy, so just be prepared for that. It's not necessarily the most comfortable thing to do in the world. And then from there, you're just gonna kind of move around on it a little bit, find the groove, find that ouchy spot. If it's not ouchy, it's just, either it's not tight or it's super tight. So you wanna make sure that you're doing this either way. Placing the top foot on the floor in front of you, and then you're gonna start with a straight leg. You're gonna pull that knee in toward your chest and bring it forward to it's just about above where the hips are, okay? So I'm gonna try to show this to you in a way where you can see everything that's going on here, okay? Bringing the knee through. This is not gonna feel great. You're not gonna love this, but it's gonna be really helpful. Dragging the leg in forward. Try as best you can to keep the ball on that spot. You may have to move around to correct it a little bit. Pulling that knee forward so it's right around the level of the hips, maybe a little bit north of that. Move around on it, find the spot again, and then breathe deep and extend that leg back out. You're gonna be stretching the hip flexors against the surface of the ball, and that's gonna help release things really quite well. Again, pulling the knee forward, nice and slow, keep it right on that spot. Move around a little bit, find the spot again, breathe in, extend the leg all the way out so you're creating a straight line again so it's fully extended, okay? That's your hip flexor release. Usually what I'll do after that is I'll drop down to one knee and I'll do a lunging hip stretch this way, trying to tighten the glute, push the hips forward, maybe a tiny little bit of a back bend so you're gonna stretch all the way up through the abdominal wall and sort of pushing the hips forward with good posture. That's a great stretch for that. And then another one that I'll do is what I call a figure four stretch. So what I'll do is I'll find a surface or something to hold on to. I'll cross that same leg over the other leg, a little bit of a figure four, cross-legged, sit into the stretch this way, and you'll start to feel a stretch through the glutes. By the way, that's a great glute stretch right here, okay? But to get it up into the hip, what I do is I push the knee down and away from my body and lengthen my body and get a really nice posture and sort of push the hips forward, and then you'll start to feel the stretch right up in the hip there, okay? So a couple of stretches to do after you're done with the hip release with the ball.